I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP.
Hi, fine. Hi, Raymond. Hi, comedian. Hi, Subi. Hi, hello, Peter. I'm doing fine. Hello, Christoph. Hello, Gaurav. I hope you know the Frangle. It's in the description.
I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP.
Hello, everyone. Let's get started. I really have to learn to tell that in each video and live stream. I have no financial interests. I have no sponsored links, and I don't want any donations. I'm hoping everyone is fine. The tension in the community has been quite high. A lot of nervosity. I'm rather peaceful. I didn't prepare anything for today, so let's get started with your questions. Bombard me. Actually, let me check. I received hold on. I have to open that quickly on Twitter. A guy wrote me if we can discuss. I think it was around a message from right. David Radford wrote me the following. A year ago, April, he wrote, David Schwartz, XRP can bring in exchange a steady supply of market takers independent of what crypto prices are doing, drives volume. And then the guy picking that up on Discord, I think, wrote, and now he's discovered that takers have no interest as speculators, nor do they need higher prices for liquidity. That's not correct. Well, the takers do need higher liquidity, because if they want to move millions, the price just won't be enough, and I really doubt they do not want to move millions. So I don't think that David really meant that the price won't surge. I mean, he has to be, how do you say, he has to be a little bit cautious with price predictions and stuff. Let me quickly rearrange my windows. Let me bring myself to the screen. By the way, did you know the Frangle, the song I played in the beginning, that a guy, I think about a year ago, composed that song, and for some reason I came across that song again, and I asked the guy if I can use it as intro to my live streams, and basically that's what I will be doing from now on, having that song as intro. First time I heard it, I almost had tears in my eyes. Banked the unbanked. I mean, the idea is freaking good. Okay, let me go through the question. Holding XRP, losing money on other coins, feeling bad when waiting, and Gaurav. I mean, you only lose money if you sell with a loss in the red. As long as you hodl, you didn't lose anything, okay? And I told it before, if I'm right, and I'm pretty sure all you guys have confidence in my calculations and stuff, then the price has to go high. And I mean, even if it goes just 1,000% higher than we are now, then we are, if I'm calculating correctly, about $4 or something. And with Bitcoin and all the others, you will not do 1,000%. And there have been two guys tweeting recently, what are you thinking? One day you wake up and XRP has a price of $4. And I answered, where's the remaining 90,000%? And my tweet received, I don't know, about 150 likes. Subi, why not? Why shouldn't XRP participate in alt season? And actually, everyone is talking about alt season as it's something which can be known. Last year, during that conference, I think it was in March, during that huge blockchain conference, I think it was in New York, everyone thought, now the bull run will come. And everyone bought, and actually everything dropped. There was literally nothing going on. There is no such thing like an alt season. Whatever people, maybe there is a bull run, a little bull run or something, maybe, I don't know, something else. Could be like some people think could be induced by manipulating through Tether, whatever. But I mean, guys, we're here because you're interested in XRP. And XRP is a totally different beast. Once XRP moons, it will leave everything else in the dust. I mean, that's for sure. When? The question when. Really, no one knows. Peter, well, that's not yet decided. I mean, she has been nominated, but I don't know about the process of electing the ECB boss. I really have no clue. I mean, the odds are quite well. I think she better stayed with the IMF. I mean, I cannot really tell about her her diplomacy, about her ways of doing politics, but what I'm 100% sure of, she has a certain charisma. And I think as a IMF boss, you need that in order to be able to convince the world leaders of doing stuff. So when I first heard that she's been nominated and she's actually considering doing that job, I thought, oh, please stay where you are. XRP user, I don't, well, you can hodl as long as you want, basically, but I don't think you will need to hold for another 2 years until we are rich. Heiko Everhardt is asking, banks are a bit anxious about going on with cryptocurrency and stuff. Thing is, I repeat it, with X current, no bank will ever touch XRP, okay? It's basically the same as when you throw in a letter into the mailbox and it arrives at the recipient and he pulls it out of his postbox and reads the letter. You don't care how the post delivered that letter, if it was by car, by train, by truck, by airplane. The only thing you're interested in is, does the letter arrive? And the same thing holds true via Xcurrent. If there is somewhere in between via multi-hop, XRP via XRapid, they really shouldn't care about. And that's the reason why I've for months now been saying I don't think we're waiting for regulations. Hi XRP Heart. Hi everyone, for those I forgot. SPIVC Butterfly, still no news. $589 for sure. Well, I'm not so into Rothschilds and other conspiracy theories. I really don't want to comment on that. I mean, everyone to his liking. I've been contacted by a guy last September, I think. He sent me a link to a conspiracy site where they basically were talking about the new world order with new reserve currency and that Trump is just a marionette and like one of these puppets you can, I think, is it marionette in English? I don't know. In German it's called marionette. This string puppet or puppet string, I don't know what it's called. And that Trump would be impeached in January. And I told him, well then let's see and wait until January. And now we're in July and there is still no sight of impeachment. And I mean, these Rothschild stories, I mean, come on. Do your own research. Just don't believe everything out there in the world. They say like 99% of the central banks belong to Rothschilds. That's simply not true. I'm guaranteeing that for the Swiss central bank, and I'm pretty sure almost all larger countries in Europe, it's about the same. Either the central bank is not even a public company, which can be held through stock, or the main stock as it is in Switzerland, basically all the votes in this shareholder meeting for the central bank in Switzerland belong to the governors of the states of Switzerland. So I really don't. That's just one thing. Mr. Penguin. Well, I told that more than once already. I really don't know. The only thing I know is this whole system is totally complex. I mean, not one for those banks starting that whole system. Not one transaction can go wrong. Everything must go through. And Darren Moore made an answer to a tweet today in a interesting way. It's interesting to see that basically all those real-time gross settlement systems are more or less going live in the same time frame. TIPS, then in the NPP, new payments platform, I think it's called in Australia. Then the SBI consortium, which basically provides, I don't know, 60 or 70% or maybe even more, 80% of the Japanese banks real-time payment system. And then the RTP, which basically went live in the US, and where we hear more and more news coming from TCH, and the tweet from Darren Moore was basically around that he thinks maybe all those systems have to go live first in order to like really globally go for that. And I really don't know what we're waiting for. Butterfly Trader, what do you want to know regarding HSBC? I mean, yes, he mentioned it. There was a tweet going around, I think from Bank XRP, regarding this bank, I think in Saudi Arabia, if I'm not wrong, SAAB or something, which is a subsidiary of HSBC. I mean, if I were totally against a technology as a parent company for all my daughter subsidiary companies, I would totally forbid those subsidiaries basically to use that technology. They're freaking tired. Maybe I need a coffee. So coming back to the question, I think HSBC, as many suggest, is more or less ready to use it as well. 589 for sure. I really don't know. I don't think that anything has to do with Brexit and US election. The interesting question is coming from Moorish King. How long do you think the banks can wait to use XRP? I've made a video about that a while back, that basically every institution doing investments, they usually calculate certain KPIs. Damn it! I don't know I didn't sleep well tonight. And with those KPIs, they usually try to figure how long it takes to get a, I say now, return on investment, but actually return on investment is one of these KPIs. I rather mean it in a generic way. I'm not, when I say return on investment, then I don't mean that particular KPI. I mean all those KPIs together. Because when you invest $1 million, And in 3 years' time you start making cost savings or higher winnings, then it will take maybe another 3 years until you basically make a break even on the initial investment of that 1 million. And when we apply those KPIs, then we are basically now already in a phase where they should see rather sooner than later certain returns on their investments. I mean, I really don't. I have no clue about how much Xcurrent costs for a bank, but let's assume Xcurrent costs HSBC, a big bank, 50 million. Okay. And I don't know, they can save, I don't know, let's say 10 million a year for whatever reason. Maybe it's more, but let's assume it's, so basically it would take them 5 years until the 50 million investment would make any sense to have it invested after all, because only after 5 years they would actually have an actual return on the investment, and that time is basically now. It starts now. They cannot wait another 2 years, and they I guarantee you they won't wait another 2 years. Definitely not. Kevin Ramper said, you mean Quant, if Quant pose any threat to XRP? I'm assuming you're referring to the video to the lifeboats, Ham and X, or X and Ham, whatever. Sam I am. I think Sam I am didn't really read the white paper. Actually, I put a link onto his video regarding Quant network and gave a rough summary of the white paper. And Quant overledger is something similar as ILP is for interledger connection interoperability, but overledger does it not just for payments, it does it for applications, for data interchange. For overledger is basically a blockchain operating system. So various blockchains can run kind of within that operating system. And my answer to Sam I am was, I don't see it as a threat. I rather see it as basically in the same direction as David Schwartz and Brett Garlinghouse always argue. The more competition, the healthier for the market. And I wouldn't even see it as competition, because the main purpose of Quant is not payment. It's basically interaction of blockchains in general. Okay? Like, I don't know. I literally have no... I mean, could be a KYC blockchain, and everything which requires KYC'd users could use that KYC blockchain. But this other blockchain is a different thing, but they can consume data from that KYC blockchain. That might be a good comparison. And in that, Kevin, I really don't see a competition. I rather see it as a healthy addition to the market. And from one of the slides I have seen on the Quant network pages, they actually have done, and that was actually something which I didn't quite understand. They had like 3 pillars: private, public, and I don't know, semi-private or something, ledger integration. And basically XRP is a public ledger, but they had listed Ripple under the private ledger stuff. So I was wondering, are they talking about XRP or are they talking about RippleNet? And if they're talking about RippleNet, that would be fantastic. So really not a threat. I rather see it as a welcome enhancement to the ecosystem. DB Deutsche Bank. I really don't know XRP hard. I mean, yes, Geo XRP. I read that tweet as well. I don't remember who tweeted it, but it was said that like over a dozen of Indian banks are basically on RippleNet. Geo, no price movement. It's always the same answer. Xcurrent doesn't require XRP per se if it's concerning domestic payments. Domestic payments are actually even faster via just Xcurrent or ILP because there is no conversion at all required. Now when it comes to cross-border payments, it's the same as always. As long as the price isn't higher, they just won't use it. I mean, also this Euro Exim Bank, that first and only bank we know of which is using XRapid. I think they announced in January, and I mean, have we seen any? I mean, they're basically in import-export, and do you really think they only help customers with, I don't know, less than $50,000 invoices import-export? For sure not. Surely there will be millions or multiple millions payments they're doing, and even those guys are not ready yet, and it's literally always the same. XRP needs a high price, and that will come, otherwise it's just not possible. Regarding Deutsche Bank, I didn't hear anything regarding RippleNet or XRP, Heiko. I don't think Deutsche Bank will collapse. Pretty sure not. It's just too big to fail. I mean, in Switzerland, UBS, the biggest bank, they received, I don't know, about 4 or 5 billion or more. Maybe it was more. Maybe it was 20 billion from the Swiss government. I think was about, I don't know, 10, 12 years back or something. I mean, Germany cannot have Deutsche Bank fail. It's just not possible. Mr. Penguin, that's the digits I'm expecting, and it'll be in the figures of these fingers, digits. Like the first one will be one of these, the count of these fingers. Butterfly is asking about Lars from Bremen. Well, Lars basically shares my views. The only thing he doesn't share is the high price. He's a bit more conservative. He thinks, I don't know, between $50 and maybe $250, something like that. Well, Maurice King is asking regarding the liquidity around XRP. That's actually, I really don't know whom Ripple could engage as market makers on the XRP market. That's really a crucial part. Another crucial part is covering the crucial corridors. And Stedas, I think is his name, made a summary over the XRP fiat pairs worldwide. And in his summary, it's about, I think, 33 fiat pairs. And then I figured on this new website, XRP Arcade, there is also a fiat pair, XRP fiat pair list. And on that list, it's, I think, I don't know, over 40 fiat pairs already. And then what I did this week is I printed the top 50, actually I printed all, but I only checked the top 50 countries by GDP. And from those top 50, compared with the second list on this XRP Arcade website, only 5 countries did not have fiat, XRP fiat pairing. I think it was Iraq, Bangladesh, like countries from the last, like on the bottom of this list, but all countries from 1 to 30 or 35 have more or less. I think Iraq may be the exception in the first 35 countries by GDP, but all the others do have. Israel was also one. All the others do have fiat pair, like an exchange which offers fiat pairs. And there is basically one exchange, I think it's in Brazil, and they offer, just as an example, on their exchange you can buy XRP, I think in about 4 currencies: Argentinian peso, Chile something, Peru, Brazilian real, maybe even one more. Yeah. Manuel has an interesting question: why Ripple is talking about the 2 minutes time regarding payments, because it's basically a negotiation process. I mean, basically, if I pay you $50, I pull out my note and I give it to you, done deal. But if I have to ask you first, are you Manuel? And you answer, yes, I'm Manuel. And then I'm asking you, are you really living in Switzerland? And then you tell me back, yes, I am. And then I ask you, tell me your password. Then you tell me the password for the $50 I give you, and only then I pay you. So that's basically that whole process. The XRapid part in that whole thing takes about, they have a time limit of 1 minute. In that 1 minute, there needs to be 2 negotiations. The first is the connector, well actually that's on ILP, but the receiving the first XRapid instance must need to do a negotiation with an exchange. Mostly it's on that server anyway, because the exchanges are XRapid enabled. But if it's not, it must negotiate with an exchange about the appropriate amount of XRP for the amount of value to be transferred. And on the other side, on the receiving end, there must be the same negotiation for how much money or how much XRP needs to be sent or received in order to be able to pay out a certain amount, that particular amount. And only then, if that matches and the guys or the person initiating that transaction actually accepts it, only then it will work. And if that if those two negotiations on either side take longer than a minute, the transaction fails. And so with all this making sure that all the relevant data is there for the KYC stuff and everything, that's about 2 minutes. I know you are a bit puzzled, Manuel, due to the fact that everyone is talking about 3 to 4 seconds settlement for XRP, but in XRapid and RippleNet it's a little bit longer because there needs to be this negotiation phase. Micro Gold, I really don't see no competition nowhere. Actually, something which got me a little bit puzzled was the RTP from TCH in US, because they were talking on their website in the FAQ section. They were talking about, there was a question, can I also make a debit on the RTP? And the answer was no, currently we only support credit transfer. And then I was asking on Twitter, and again nobody could answer all important questions. No one can answer. That's like about what price we reach, everyone knows everything. But if you come with an interesting question regarding how the bank stuff works, market making, market taking, I didn't even know that there is credit transfer and debit transfer. But as I said, no answer on that. I knew, however, that Ripple is a debit transfer, not a credit transfer. Then I googled a little bit because I didn't get an answer, and I basically figured it's about the same. I think it's just from the different perspective, like Nostro and Vostro. My Nostro account is your Vostro account, basically. It's the same. It's just that when I talk about my money in your bank, then it's my Nostro. When you talk about my money in your bank, then it's Vostro, because you're talking about my money. If people who do talk French or Latin, they would immediately realize that it's the same thing. And I'm kind of, in the meantime, pretty sure that credit and debit transfer is about the same thing. It's just a different perspective from where it's kind of like initiated somehow. I don't know. But yeah, after that, after those little doubts, I basically calmed down, and I'm still thinking RTP in the US from this faster payment task force. I'm pretty sure there is at least, maybe not everything running through ILP or RippleNet, but at least for sure it's a possibility. There was a tweet from Finastra, actually, I think it was the end of last week, and Finastra was writing about, I think, Berkshire something bank in Northern, I don't know, Carolina or whatever. And they said they wrote after installing Fusion Pay Plus, the bank was being able to do real-time payments. And I mean, as we all know, Fusion Plus integrates RippleNet. Of course, they most likely integrate other technology as well. But coming back to Miko Gold, I literally don't see no competition. Literally. Domination. Why would they only want small volume payments? I mean, they always state that XRP is the end goal. They don't want. Their vision is internet of value and not internet of micropayments or internet of low value payments. Their vision is internet of value. That's something you have to remember all the time. A vision is basically the top layer of a company, why the company exists. And below follows strategy and operational tasks. And if you forget why you're here, then you always look back at your vision and you really realize, aha, that's why we're here. That's our long-term target. Okay. An internet of value is the vision of Ripple. They are 100% going for the high value. I mean, what was it? Domination. Even if forget about the stuff I just told with the vision. Just think about Nostro, the stuff I've been scratching on before. Nostro and Vostro is basically required that the huge cost there comes because it's billions, and it's billions because it's billions or trillions in flows going around. And when they're talking about getting rid of Nostros, they're not talking about getting rid of $50 Nostro somewhere in, I don't know, Guatemala. Then they're talking about the 2 billion Nostros from Swiss banks in the euro area or whatever. That's where the cost occurs. So it's really out of question that they're just going after the low value payments. XRP, I don't know if they have set a date. I really don't know. I think literally few people know that. English to me. Can you explain your question better? XRP oil into oil rig. Maybe I don't understand the name, the word rig. Gas Ares, check out the website XRP Arcade. I think it's com, maybe. Gus Ares, and from Argentina. And they list a site where you can even buy XRP with the Argentinian, I think it's called peso. I don't remember. Forgive me if I got it wrong. But on that exchange, you should be able to buy XRP with your domestic currency. Rohit, it's basically it was confirmed in a quite official statement. Someone from Ripple itself, but let me check that. Check the India dozen banks tweet for what? For forgot the word in English, not quality, for how much true it is. That's what I want to say. I will check it, Rohit, and leave a comment in the description or as a comment to this video. Yes, so many unknowns. But Gio, why did you invest anyway into XRP? Let me give you an example. Why would someone invest into Apple stock or Google stock? Because basically, or Facebook. Because basically you believe, wow, they're really a global company and they have great products, and every product They bring out this basically a big hit, and they sell and sell and sell. And they have, like in the case of Apple, they have huge gross margins on their products, etc. Or net margins, I don't know what the correct term is, whatever. Profits on each product. And basically, you're believing that they will continue that track record, that they will bring out new cool iPhones, whatever other tools, services like Apple Music or whatever. That's the reason why you invest into Apple stock, right? Now, it doesn't mean that the stock itself will always rise. Most likely there will be a tendency to rise. But let's assume, for some stupid reason, a charge of, I don't know, 100,000 new iPhones has a faulty battery. And after 10 times charging it, the battery explodes. I mean, no one could anticipate something like that, and the price of the Apple stock would plummet, because everyone would fear, oh, now they stop selling iPhones, obviously, right? And the same is actually true for the thing I was going to talk about. Regarding Geo, regarding the unknowns, and these unknowns we also have in XRP. But I believe, I have literally zero doubt on that Vision Internet of Value, on ILP, on XRP as bridge currency, and every you can throw Quant at me, Hyperledger, whatever, Corda. It doesn't worry me. Either they integrate Ripple or Net or XRP directly, those tools, because they realize it's something they have to do, or in what I've been talking about in relation to Quant network, this overledger. It's not just about payments. I think the focus on the overledger is actually to be able to build applications in this overledger platform, which can then connect in parallel to multiple blockchains simultaneously. From one blockchain they get the KYC data, from another blockchain they get, I don't know, health records, from the third they get credit rating about the person, and then from a fourth blockchain, whatever, they pick probable credit rates they can offer you with all those information they got from the other, so they can build applications on top. And this is, for me, really not the competitor, so I really don't see no competition. Yes, Ralph, we did take a look at Quant. It's really Ralph, check the video and my comment to Sam I am. He's right. Quant is not competition, but he drew his conclusion out of wrong reasons. And the reasons why Quant is, I summarize that again, is not the competition, because the focus is on interoperability of blockchains in general, not just payments. They want to be able to provide a platform where multiple blockchains can be pulled data from in one parallel process, so that you can build your own application on top, which then does something, give you a credit or whatever. And it's an enhancement of the ecosystem, but definitely not a competition. Okay, now I understood it. English to me. How can I turn my dumb brick commodity into a machine that produces bricks? Instead of a pile of XRP, I want a dragon that spits out XRP. Maybe you need to go into hibernation mode for 2-3 more weeks. I really don't know what. I'm still convinced once SBI goes live, maybe not the first day, but over the course of, I don't know, 7 to 10 days, I'm pretty sure we will see quite some increase in price. Pretty sure in the dollar ranges, in the lower dollar ranges somewhere. If that'll be the start point for the Shane Ellis theory to get into action and the price increase, that I really don't know. Could be, but I really don't know. Moorish King, thanks a lot for the compliments. Domination, exactly right. I've been talking about MoneyGram in earlier live streams. MoneyGram is just for opening corridors because via multi-hop of Xcurrent 4, which is live since end of September last year, it's possible that with just one XRapid installation in a country, any Xcurrent user can use that XRapid installation, and MoneyGram will open basically in the whole wild world. I mean, I would be happy if they open corridor, like real installations of their XRapid solution in those top 50 countries by GDP. That would, and because there we have the fiat pairs, and I'd be more than happy. I'm pretty sure those top 50 countries together, just guessing, but I'm pretty sure that they cover about, I don't know, 80% of the worldwide GDP, maybe. I really don't know. Ralph Raymond, you come in late and you have questions I have already talked about. The banks will never touch XRP. I recommend you watch the first 20 or 30 minutes again, where I've been talking about the ledger in the post. They really will never touch XRP. Mr. Pace, no, I don't think SBI will delay again. RMB, ja, es geht mir gut, danke. I'm pretty sure we're on track. Yeah. So I see we're all getting a little bit tired. I'm sorry for my yawning all the time. During the day it was kind of quite okay, but it started in the evening. I really didn't sleep well. Someone asked me as a conclusion for today's live stream again to talk about my price expectations. Well, I always stated I don't do price predictions. I think once we have about 10% of the global cross-border volume going live on ILP or RippleNet by the end of the year, and I'm pretty sure that's a target which can be met, then the price has to be way above $1,500, and by way above I don't mean $1,505, I mean $2,000, $2,500 could go up to $5,000 or more dollars, because they have to basically ensure that that no transaction will fail. And imagine when there is a 1 billion transaction coming along and the market maker has only 1 billion XRP at hand. I mean, the market maker needs to be able to cover 2 minutes or 30 seconds later the next 50 million payment as well. So they need to be able to take care and to help with liquidity for all the transactions, and there will be hundreds and thousands of transactions per hour or minute, maybe even second. I really don't know. I don't remember. I think in Target 2, if I remember properly, they have about, no, that's the dollar value. I have to check the amount of transactions. I really don't know, but it's a lot of transactions, that's for sure. And they cannot risk that the market makers run out of XRP or fiat the moment the huge payment comes in. That's a simple no-go. That's why the price has to go high. And now I want to give you my 4 cornerstones of motivation again. Ripple had from the start the best people on board, and they're still recruiting the top shots of the whole industry from each company. In each area they recruit top shots. No other startup company would have the power to do that. Okay? Second, for about, I think since 2012 or 13, definitely 14, they're talking to the central banks. That's 5 years now. What other startup company would have the possibility to go and talk to 40 or 50 central banks around the world? I mean, it's obvious there must be something great coming. It cannot be different. Then I have been also talking, third cornerstone, about the training, which is available in about over 70 countries worldwide for over a year now. In the larger countries, or I wouldn't say larger, but in the countries with more payment flows, with more banks, let's say like that, like Switzerland. In Switzerland we have every fucking week a training. There is 3 different trainings offered, I think for admins, for CFOs from companies, and for developers. And every week we have a training on RippleNet and XRP in Switzerland. Every week for over a year now. Which other startup would be able to support something like that? And then the last leg of the stool, fourth leg of the stool, is the 80-20 rule. If they really want to achieve by 2025 mass adoption of ILP, then they better get going. It's known that the first 80% results you achieve with 20% effort, and the last 20% results you need 80% effort. If we do the effort on the time scale, and we just for easier calculation calculate 20% of this 100% is about a year, and they want to be ready in 2025, then they rather have like 60% by the end of 2020. Which means it cannot be just 1% of the market this year. It needs to be 10, 15, maybe 20 or even 30% of the market. And with that, I wish you a nice evening or a nice day. I thank you as always for your trust, your interesting questions. Today there were some quite interesting questions, but some people I realize haven't been following me for quite some time, or only just recently, so they didn't really know about my theories and stuff. But anyway, I think it was good. I hope you found it interesting. I am looking forward to talk to you guys again, to those speaking German maybe on Thursday, and to the English speaking guys next Tuesday. Thanks for your trust. Hi Kung Fu, long time no see.